I feel more informed when I listen.
This is The Press Box on Wichita's sports station, KGSO.
The Press Box on KGSO.
Yes, sir. Welcome into the Press Box on 1410 93.9 KGSO in the Renewal by Anderson Studios. Superior products, exceptional service. Jacob Zimmerman, Sasha Bushka is back. Give us a call on the Maximum Outdoor Equipment phone lines, 316-522-1410. Drop your comments for us over the next 2 hours on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, or Twitch. We got the SC Wichita app. KGSO.com. Have a good show in store for you today. We'll talk a little bit about Kenneth Walker and what the Chiefs are calling a minor foot injury. We'll discuss that. We'll maybe retouch on a couple of Monday's topics, things like the Royals winning streak. They're in action tonight. Butker's kick. I talked about Daniels preseason, but this story that's kind of glooming over college sports right now with Daquan Wright trying to come on back and play tight end for LSU. We'll talk about that. We'll play a little bit of audio. We'll see when we get to second hour. We'll review Deshaun Watson. I was looking at Deshaun Watson, kind of reflecting back on the last 5 years and what has happened to him. And, well, his battle with Shadur Sanders. We're going to draft some stadiums. We'll have fun with that. And didn't get to it yesterday. Nick Chubb has hung it up. Sasha, what's going on, dude?
Not much, Jay-Z. I'm excited to be back. Lots that happened this weekend. Obviously wasn't here yesterday to react to anything, so it's going to be a fun show. Excited to get to it all.
For sure. Let's get to our first call today on the Maximum Outdoor Equipment phone lines. How are you?
Well, I'm doing a little bit better than I did yesterday, and I righted a little bit of a wrong this morning on Doug's show, and I want to do the same thing with your show.
What's that?
Because I sent you a photo message of what transpired during that little fiasco, because we were in the middle of a good conversation, and then wham, and the wrong word came out. So
I didn't hear anything, Anthony. You just cut off.
Oh, well, if you didn't hear what I said, it's a good thing.
Yeah.
Because I got rear-ended.
Oh, I figured something happened like that. My goodness, I'm sorry to hear that.
And basically, I said sugar, honey, iced tea. You can figure out those acronyms.
Yeah, well, it sounds like it got cut off, Anthony,
right.
So all's
just
well.
In case somebody did hear that, I want to apologize to you as being the show host that was flying solo and had to be an ear witness, and to the listeners that may have heard that, because those that know me know I'm not really wound. We all have our moments, but that was a moment you don't expect to happen, because we were in the middle of a good conversation talking about quarterback performances, and I just kind of want to put that into perspective. Yes, Joe Milton did have a good game, solid game, but, this is preseason.
Anthony, I'm pretty sure all that I heard come out from you was just like a noise from a cartoon character, like a yabba dabba dabba doo, and then you were gone. That's it. So, anything sports wise in your mind here for the show today?
But yeah, to finish that conversation we had, we were talking about Joe Milton, because you're talking about quarterback, performances, and keeping things in perspective. Everybody knows I'm a Dallas fan, but in the reality of it, he was playing against St. Louis backups and guys trying to make the squad. Now, to really solidify his position as the backup in their last preseason game, I would like to see him get some reps with the number ones versus the other team's number ones, because when you start seeing the starters, it's for maybe 2 possessions just to get the rust off and see how he handles the different play calling. Because one thing they say about Joe Milton is he's a little bit more mobile, and he can actually move the pocket. So Dallas needs a good solid number he could solidify under that scenario, being a good number 2 backup quarterback, and then thrust into a situation if Dak gets hurt. That being said, that's pretty much all I want to wrap up on.
For sure.
I know you guys got a good show.
Appreciate
I
the
do want
call.
to ask you this question because I asked Doug the same question. Who holds the owners accountable in the NFL? Because there's accountability for players, accountability for coaches.
It's
Owners do some of the most
supposed
craziest
to be Goodell.
things, and they just get a slap on the wrist. And Goodell ain't doing that.
Well, I mean, the thing is, Goodell actually works for the owners. He does, so it's not that doesn't really work, right? Because he goes against the players' union and works as the owner's representative of the collective 32. So it's a good question, actually.
All right, thank you.
Hey, thanks
all right,
thanks
good
for calling,
stuff.
Anthony.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Looking at Devin here on Facebook. 49ers said they needed help in the secondary. The owner took it, I guess, a little too far. Yeah, Devin, I don't know what's going on in the world of sports, and these owners are supposed to lead the way and represent, like you say, hey, the players are supposed to represent the team and represent the franchise. The owner, I think, needs to take that to another level. All right, let's go 2 in a row here on the phone lines to start the press box. How are you, sir?
Hey, Jay-Z.
What's up, Dakota?
Do you think it's right for if you get drafted in the NFL, then come back to the college?
No, I don't think you should be able to do that. I think, going back a couple of years, it was like, all right, you hire an agent and you can't return to college sports at all. And now there's some messiness and people are finding their way back in. I like what the Big Ten's doing, Dakota. I like the player ban. If you have been a part of an NFL franchise in any capacity, I think that cancels you out.
And this is really not complicated in college football. Like, it gets a little hairy in basketball because you've got, okay, so you can't play in the NBA and come back to college, but what if you played in the G League? What if you played in an overseas professional league? There's hundreds of professional basketball leagues across the world that guys could have potentially played in at 18 years old, 16, 17 years old for some of these Euros. And so there is actually some gray area and some complication there. It's pretty simple in football, right? You go in the draft, you decide to become a professional, then you're done playing in college, right? That shouldn't be that complicated, but we're the courts are making it more complicated than it needs to be.
Yeah, I do agree. Maybe if they don't change the rule, maybe college football might be a semi-pro.
It already
like
feels that way. And when you open the door a little bit for one guy, so another dude's going to try to swing the barn door wide open, right? You're going to have, I only played 3 years of college football, and I graduated in 2020, and I've been out of the sport for some time, but I want to try to find my way back in so I can get another paycheck and make some NIL.
The reality is, too, is that football has no mechanism for developing players other than you go to college and then so they have made college their de facto minor leagues from the beginning of time since both have existed. And so they're going to have to start dealing with the fact that they don't develop their own players. They rely on college to do it. And so the two kind of have to work hand in hand.
The practice squad is kind of like that, but there's only so many players on a practice squad in the NFL.
And they don't play any games.
Yeah, there's not a relationship with the UFL. The UFL is, not the same time of the season, right? It's the downtime, and I don't think the NFL necessarily wants to extend the hand out to the UFL and partner with them.
Right.
So, anything else, Dakota, before you go?
That's all.
All right.
Thanks, Dakota.
Clear and concise. We like it. 522-1410. All right, let's get back to the top here. Kenneth Walker held out of practice today with a foot concern, and we were talking a little bit about this before the show started. And look, Kenneth Walker's not one of those running backs that you think of heading into the season like, oh man, I'm biting my nails here. Does he have an injury concern? That's not him. He's kind of been an Iron Man overall, but maybe has had a couple of nicks and dings here or there.
I don't actually agree with that, right? He's never had a major injury, but if you've been following through his Seattle career, he's missed games sporadically throughout his career and also had dings where you didn't know going into the game whether he's going to be. He's missed 10 games in 4 years. Doesn't sound like a ton, but if you've never had a major injury and 10 times you found your way onto the sideline, that's still a lot. That's about 20% of your games. And so it is something that I was concerned about coming into Kansas City, is that like they're putting a lot of eggs in the Kenneth Walker basket. You're going to need him available each and every week, and I hope he will be. But I think it's realistic to think like there's going to be a game or two throughout the season where he's not available, and you're going to have to figure out what to do at the running back spot with him not there.
It feels like you hear foot, and most of the time it's like, did this guy have some sort of turf toe? Or look, there's kind of a wide range with feet problems. We hear, more often than not, it's like a lineman or an NBA player who carries a lot of weight who has a foot injury, and that can really derail their career. Other times it's something just super minor, and then they're right back ready to go. I think maybe the total workload he's had, this is something that's sort of built up for a little bit of time, but the timing here is the key. This is the wrong time to have something hit you. Sometimes players have a little bit of an injury bug strike them in the summer, but it doesn't necessarily get reported because you're not in official practice, reporters aren't around. I think the timing of this is certainly the biggest story. You've had a lot of people who have already done their fantasy drafts who are now thinking, man, worst case somehow does this linker, and Kenneth Walker is either not 100% or he's missing time at the start of the season. That's not what you want to have
Yeah, it's been kind of the story of the offseason, right, is skill position players getting dinged up. We had the Ashton Genty sprained ankle over the weekend, which at first glance people thought it was super serious, and then it came out later it was a sprained ankle, and so who knows what was going on with that. And then you had Jamar Chase today go down with the knee, and they got to run some tests with him. You had Jeremiah Love with a high ankle sprain in a preseason game a few weeks back. So it's been high profile players at skill positions kind of taking on these injuries that aren't necessarily season ending, but could linger into the season a little bit. And that's like something, if you're playing fantasy football or if you're just a fan of a team, you've got to kind of manage and figure out what that's going to look like early in the season.
If you are Eric Bieniemy, if you're Andy Reid, you're going into week 1, Denver Broncos primetime matchup, right? AFC West showdown. What's the target amount of touches that you want Kenneth Walker to get? Of course, it's situational, right? You've got an idea range. You maybe don't stick to it. Maybe we see a little bit of Dean Mercado. I think a little bit of Emmett Johnson wouldn't hurt as well. But I think, about 20 touches is what you want to give
25,
Walker.
yeah. 20 to 25. If you think of it as like 20 carries and 5 catches if you can. He probably won't normally get 5 catches. But he could go over 20 carries sometimes. So, like, 25 on a high end, you don't see guys get 30 touches in a game very often anymore. But 20 to 25 a game, when he's out there and he's healthy, you want him to touch the ball that many times because that's that many opportunities for a potential explosive play.
Just while I'm looking at the Chiefs' offense here and kind of thinking about the offense, look, I think Garrett Nussmeier was in the news just a smidge. There's the conversation, hey, is this guy like a better backup, for Patrick Mahomes as opposed to a Justin Fields? I don't think he'll move up the depth chart just yet, given that he's still so raw, but I'm one of those believers in Garrett Nussmeier. Look, if you showed the potential to be a first-round pick at some point in your college career, and all of a sudden you fall to the late rounds, like something maybe went wrong there that wasn't totally in your control. I think we could see the Chiefs, make Garrett Nussmeier interesting here, and we got one more preseason to see.
Yeah, best case scenario for the Chiefs is that Garrett Nussmeier never plays in an NFL game for them, but plays in enough preseason games and looks good enough doing it that somebody wants to give them a third or a fourth rounder down the line, or he's just kind of a backup for a while. The problem is, guys, if they show promise, will usually get a chance to start somewhere before they get pigeonholed into that backup role. And so it would be kind of tough for him if he was like the next 10 years, like whenever he becomes a free agent, he's not just going to continue to be behind Mahomes. But I think there's some promise there, right? I think you can. If you're the Chiefs and your goal is to one day like flip that into a future pick, you can make him look good in the preseason if you want to, right? You can scheme things up for him to look good in the preseason playing against backups. And so that should be your goal. And maybe I think he's still the third stringer this year, right? Justin Fields has experience. He's started a lot of games in the NFL. I don't think they'd feel comfortable going to Garrett Nussmeier if Mahomes couldn't start game one or if something were to happen to Mahomes during the season.
And at least with Fields, like Fields has made so many mistakes where if he makes another one with Kansas City, he's going to run right back onto the field, I think, with similar confidence. I also talked about Harrison Butker this week. And look, this kick that he drilled over the weekend against Tampa Bay in the preseason matchup was insane. Now, we did take some calls later on that sort of questioned the consistency, maybe the clutchness of a Harrison Butker. But what I do know, hey, it's a preseason game. But I think kickers, a lot of their success is the mental side. But we at least got to see the ceiling of Butker. I mean, the ball was on the 50. That thing would have probably gone through from 75-plus yards out. And my point on Monday was, kickers don't necessarily look like it because they look like the average man. But they are superhuman as well. Their ability is special. But I do think, we could see a future where if kickers one day get consistent from 65, 70 yards, and with this new kick format and everything for kickoffs and defenses are in prevent, all you got to do now in a late game situation is just get 1 first down and a half, and you're right in field goal range. But I think, we don't see Butker really hardly even attempt 69-yard field goals in an actual game. But this could be something down the line if you need a prayer.
Yeah, it's not likely to just get into a situation where you need that attempt. It's more likely at the end of halves than at the very end of the game because you want to put yourself in a better spot for the field goal at the end of a game. But if it's the end of a half and for some reason you couldn't get any closer or you took a penalty late, it's something you could try. Cam Little hit a 71-yarder in the preseason last year, so it's good. I'll respond a little bit to the Harrison Butker, because I hear it, and you were talking about it before the show, but I hear it from Chiefs fans all over the place. People kind of over Harrison Butker or fed not thinking he's good enough. He's got the 4th best accuracy percentage in the history of the NFL.
Is that just
for
regular
his career?
Season
For his career, and that's just regular season. And he's, I guarantee, made a lot more playoff kicks than any of the guys above him because it's Justin Tucker, Eddie Pinheiro, and Cameron Dicker are the 3 guys above him. And so he's ahead of Brandon Aubrey in that, by the way, everybody's darling who's been in the league for 2 years. So I'm not saying he's better than Brandon Aubrey, but Harrison Butker is a good kicker. The problem is fan expectation is that a kicker never misses a kick. Yeah. And if you can make a 69-yarder, that's a good thing to have in your bag. And you're gonna miss some every once in a while. Even last year, when I was kind of hearing that he's gone downhill and that he hasn't been as good, he was 33 for 38 last year. He missed 5 field goals the entire year, and on 38 attempts, and he's never missed more than 5 in a season in his career. No, he had one bad season, 2022, which happened to be a season that the Chiefs won the Super Bowl and had a prolific offense anyways. He only attempted 24 that year, and he made 18 of them. So, let's back off of Butker a little bit. He was dealing with injuries last year, too. I still think Harrison Butker is one of the best kickers in the league. If he was gone, you couldn't get someone better. So just live with the fact that kickers miss field goals every once in a while.
That's the point, is these guys aren't perfect, and who else is out there on the open market for one? The entire league is another. Give me another kicker over the last 5 years of sample size who's proven to be better. Maybe it's Aubrey, right? I think a Cam Little has the highest kick rating in the game as far as power. But give me another guy who's actually been through these
and actually done it in big spots
and is a household name.
Like done it in big spots. That's the key. Is right. If you get into a playoff game and you got a 53-yarder to win the game, I'll put Butker out there before a lot of these other guys. Maybe he might be my first pick in the league because he's actually done it before. He did it in the 13-second game. He's done it in Super Bowls. A lot of these guys have never been in those moments.
And I even think while we've been talking about fantasy football a lot over the last couple of weeks, it's so common for people just to pick up, hey, I got this kicker against a bad defense coming up or something like that, or hey, my kicker's projected a lot of points this week coming up, and so I don't think people actually realize holding on to one kicker, being a fan of them, you're gonna go through your ups and downs, but you prove it in the postseason. I think you really got to hold on to this guy. And I said, hey, Butker's maybe on the level of a Kelsey or Chris Jones, a Mahomes or a Reed, but you have to sort of attach him to this dynasty at some point.
Yeah, at least somewhat. Yeah. As much as you want to attach kickers to anything.
I'm sure you've been hearing the promos here on this station throughout the last couple of days. The 21st annual High School Football Guide for South Central Kansas 2026 edition is now here. We were hitting the streets this morning and early afternoon, delivering this out to our sponsorship locations. Guys, this is one of the coolest things that we do here. We are a radio station, but we come out with this magazine for a high school football season. We are a week and about a half away from calling our first games next Friday. And what's awesome about this is if you want to know the schedule for a high school team in the area, maybe it's your friend's kid, maybe it's a kid of your own, a grandson, you get the schedule. You get a nice about 200-word preview for every team here. There's about, what are we working with, Sasha? About 40-plus teams here?
I think around 60, actually.
Around 60? Yeah, in the guide. This is great to see. And also, hand in hand with these high school football previews, you see a lot of local businesses, guys. And these business owners are very similar to you. They share a passion for supporting local sports. And if you, I'm just going to be honest, if you want to support local and if you want to find some great deals here in town, you pick up this high school football guide and you look through this thing and you hold on to it. You can mark down your scores throughout the season. And so it is a great thing to have by your side throughout the 2026 campaign for high school football. We'll kind of name throughout the show. So businesses are where to pick this up in relation to some of your favorite teams. If you are repping the Bishop Carroll Golden Eagles this year, you're going to be part of this holy war with the Crusaders at Cape and Mount Carmel. Pick up the high school football guide. Check them out at Auburn Wine and Spirits, Maximum Outdoor and Equipment, Two Brothers Barbecue. Maybe you're rooting on the Blue Aces of Wichita East or the Red Hawks from Wichita North. Check out Dot Greens, Davis Liquor, and Quincy's Bar and Grill, just to name a few. The high school football guide is here.
64 teams in the guide. I just kind of looked at it while you were talking there, and if there's a team in Sedgwick County that you want to know about or that you follow, they're going to be in this guide, and even some other counties as well. You're not going to find a school within probably a 40-mile radius of Wichita that's not in there, and plus even a few more with the Salina schools that fall into the AVCTL and that sort of thing. So it's a great resource for high school football heading into the season.
John Huff saying, what's up on Facebook? What is up? Yeah, man, excited for some high school football. We got the G-Wall, the AVCTLs, D1, D2, D3, and D4, Central Plains League, Central Kansas League, the Wheat State League, Heart of Plains, Tri-Valley, South Central Border, Freelance, Heart of America. We've got them all. We've got them all. I'll tell you what, we'll have to, tell Micaela Dea to get a high school football guide as well. Help get her prepared for this upcoming season.
That's right.
Because that's what we do. That's what we do. All right. We'll take a quick breather. Micaela Dea from Cake Sports stopping by once again, per usual, here on a Tuesday. Couldn't talk with Hannah Whetstone yesterday. She's getting too busy for the season as well.
Yeah, high school football's around the corner, buddy. Next week, right?
Next Friday.
Yeah.
KGSO, first game. This one's a great one. At Bishop Carroll, Wichita Northwest.
Call the Press Box now on the Maximum Outdoor Equipment phone lines at 522-1410.
The Press Box on KGSO.
Want to hear more of KGSO? Don't forget to download our app today. Fill out weekly surveys. Register to win great prizes. Listen live. Message our shows and so much more. Plus, get reminders of special programming and games you don't want to miss. Just find SC Wichita in your app store and make KGSO your new favorite app. It's Wichita's Sports Talk, right on your phone. Download the SC Wichita app today with Wichita's Sports Station, KGSO.
Friday nights in Wichita mean one thing. Our kids, our teams, our lights on that field. Renewal by Anderson is proud to help light up Friday night lights across the Wichita area because we believe in the same things this community does. Craftsmanship, pride, and showing up for what matters. So this season, cheer loud, and when you're ready to bring that same hometown quality home to your windows and doors, call Renewal by Anderson of Wichita. Renewal by Anderson, proud supporter of Wichita area Friday night lights.
Are you in need of a new dentist? Check out 316 Dental at 13th and West Street. 316 Dental is now offering same-day services with the addition of a second dentist. That's right, same day. The hardworking team includes 4 hygienists and stays open late to fit your schedule. 316 Dental accepts most major insurance companies. Ask them about their new patient special that includes a comprehensive exam and x-rays. They also offer implants and Invisalign.
Care that soars above and beyond the 316 Dental.
This is The Herd.
You got to be consistent.
With Colin Cowherd.
Mic check.
The Dodgers are melting down. Their best players are hurt or can't hit. Is the media ever right with their fatalistic claims? I know I'm a broken record, but God, I push back on this stuff. This Tariq Skubal acquisition was much more life raft than adding a helipad to the yacht.
This is The Herd.
Weekdays at 11 a.m. right here on KGSO and on the SC Wichita app.
When might you be buzzed? When you suddenly love everything.
You guys, I love this song. I love these nachos. I love our kickball league. Ugh! I love this guy. What's your name? You know what I'd love? A ride when it's time to head out.
If you see a buzzed warning sign, call for a ride when it's time to go home. Buzz driving is drunk driving. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
I love your car. Is this real leather?
KGSO Studio, brought to you by Renewal by Anderson. Expert installation done right. Right on schedule. Find them online at renewalbyanderson.com. Wichita's home for sports talk. Going 20 years strong. This is KGSO.
Yes, sir. Welcome on back. The place to be for local sports here in Kansas. It's the Press Box on KGSO. Jay-Z, Jacob Zimmerman, Sasha Bushka, having a blast here. 522-1410. Look, I tell you to call the number, but it's now taken up by the one, the only Miss Micaela Dea joins us here on the Maximum Outdoor Equipment phone lines. The folks are back, giving you an applause. Micaela, what's up?
The applause is back. I'm honored. I feel so good.
Oh, you never know. It's like the Grammys, right? All right. Let's see, Micaela. There's a couple things on the rundown I could ask you about. We'll probably get into some high school sports here in a little bit. I want to ask you about the Royals win streak that's on the line. But let's start here with the Kansas City Chiefs. Last preseason game here coming up against Seattle this Friday. Said to be a good one. And it feels like the entire NFL is getting hit with the old injury bug, right? It seems to bite, and this is the worst time. I know, like an Ashton Genty got dinged up the other day, what they're calling an ankle sprain. Jamar Chase went down with something with the lower body earlier today as well. And then you got Kenneth Walker, who sat out of practice with a foot injury. And so, Micaela, we can look at this through the fantasy lens or just a Chiefs fans lens. What are we thinking here with Kenneth Walker being the latest name added to the injury bug list?
Well, first off, I'm glad my fantasy team hasn't drafted yet. My main one that I care about, at least. I have a guillotine league right now that's going on. It's taking forever. But, no, I'm glad because I also saw Jamar Chase. That was rough to see. But in terms of Kenneth Walker, I watched the videos today. He was walking around, I think, just fine. A foot injury, not ideal, but at the same time, he didn't have anything on it as far as I saw. No brace, nothing. So I think, honestly, it'll all be fine. Again, I don't think he's really dealt with that many injuries in his entire career. So there's a positive as well. But he's the guy right now, and for all intents and purposes, right, for an RB1 for the Chiefs. And so you don't want to see him out. When it comes to all their injuries, though, it's nice to see Trey Smith back at practice. That was huge because I think the O-line was the biggest concern as of late, the last week or so. But yeah, no, I mean, it's just the injury bug I think that they always get after, a huge camp and all these preseason games. I think everything so far has not been too concerning.
Yeah, so I'll ask you something Jacob asked me in the first segment, which is Kenneth Walker, the Chiefs brought him in to be kind of a bell cow and completely change their running back room and their kind of approach. What's a good number of touches per game that the Chiefs should be looking to get Kenneth Walker on a regular basis, on a week-to-week basis? Like, do you think they're going to – how much do you think they're going to use him on a game-to-game basis?
I mean, I would like to see him in there more often just because of the veteran presence that he has. What does he normally have over a season? Is it around, 250
Yeah, I had that.
carries? Maybe like... Yeah.
So, did we lose her?
I don't think we just lost her, did we?
No, I'm still here. Wanted to talk first. But no, I just was going to say I'm not a big math person, but what is it? Can you hear me? 15 to 20 seconds a game?
He had 221 attempts on the ground last year, and he caught 31 balls, so about 250, yep.
Which that's huge, too, the fact that he's just a dynamic running back like that not only is he just, hitting it on the ground, but he can catch as well. But, maybe to that 15 to 20 range per game. I'd like to see him out there as much as possible. You lose Pacheco, and here we have a guy that is pretty versatile, obviously coming off that MVP award in the Super Bowl. But I know also Emmett Johnson's been impressing, the rookie, and you have DeMarcado, who maybe wants to prove himself as well. So it'll be interesting to see, how they rotate with that RB room this year.
All right, I'll give you one more Chiefs question because this was a bit of a debate yesterday between me and some callers. We have Harrison Butker drilling a 69-yard field goal over the weekend. He missed a couple other manageable ones in the game, though, that have people kind of, raising their eyebrows just a little bit. But I think Butker's been one of the more consistent kickers. So the question with you is, what's the leash here on a Harrison Butker, right? Like, how much, more does he need to prove? Is he on the hot seat for kickers, so to say, heading into this season? And maybe a part two, like, do we ever see Butker attempt another 69, 70-plus yard field goal in a game?
Yeah, that was exciting to see, especially because last year was just such a down year for him. For all intents and purposes, again, Butker is that consistent guy. Anytime you get him in the game to drill a long field goal, he normally nails it. I know the extra points were hard for him last year, which is wild. But, when we talked to him all season long, especially when he addressed it in training camp, it really was more of a mental thing with him. And so the fact that he said this summer and this spring, what I decided to do was just hang out with my family more and get away from the mental side of things. For him, that was a huge thing for him, and that's what helped him recover and not focus on, hey, I had a down year, and what do I do? Because he already knows what to do. He's a vet. But there's someone, too, that comes to mind. Dicker the kicker has been very impressive for the Chargers. And so if I were to put them up against each other, I mean, come on now. Ooh. Last year, Cameron Dicker, he had a huge, huge season. But no, I think if I'm a Chiefs fan, I wouldn't be worried about Butker at all because, he did even deal with some injury stuff, too. And I like the fact, too, that he already mentioned multiple times it was just a mental thing. And, I wouldn't even want to imagine what it's like to be a kicker with, the weight of the world on your shoulders, wanting to make a game-winning field goal and all that. But even then, I think statistically he was decent last year. It just was a down year for him per se. So
I'll stay on the NFL, and then I'll let Jay-Z take it into some other things. You mentioned Dicker the kicker. He's actually, I think, the most accurate kicker in NFL history. I was looking it up because I wanted to see where Butker ranked last segment. Butker's fourth, Cameron Dicker is first. So congratulations on that. But I'll ask you a little bit about the Chargers.
Where's the applause? Get the applause.
Yeah, get the applause going, Jay-Z.
How about these names of kickers, by the way? I mean, Butker, Dicker. I mean, crazy, right? Anyway,
let's
keep
not
going.
get carried away, Jay-Z.
Yeah, I'm not. Yeah, I'm staying away from that one. Biotish, I think, is his name. The center for the Chargers went down, and I think is going to miss the season. I think I saw that report come out. Their new center. What aside from that, or include that in it? What are the vibes coming out of Chargers camp so far this preseason?
You already know what I'm going to say. I genuinely think there's someone with a voodoo doll or some coven of witches that is cursing us every year. Now we have, once again, our veteran center. I mean, at this point, just what I'm trying to say is a veteran O-lineman. It's just embarrassing, and I don't understand. And I know injuries are part of the game, but why is it always the Chargers? Who's cursed us in the past? And that's always going to be my explanation at this point, because I just don't get it. Why are we struggling with our own line? It was embarrassing last year with all the injuries, Herbert getting sacked left and right. Herbert is a quality quarterback, and I'm always going to make that argument. I don't think he gets enough respect. And I know we're competing in the AFC West against Mahomes and whatnot, but at this point, it's just sad to see. It's just sad. So the vibes are a little low right now, but, I'm hoping they can prove fans wrong, at least Chargers fans wrong, once the season starts.
Look, the Niners are pointing to the electrical substation. Maybe you guys have like the LA pollution going on. I don't know what it is there in Chargerland.
Yeah, we never should have moved from San Diego. That's the answer.
Bingo.
Chargers should have stayed in San Diego. Dean Spanos. It's the curse of Dean Spanos and his family, because they did it for money. Boom.
Owners do a lot for money. It's the world we live in. All right, Micaela, let's go to the Royals. I know their ownership's been thinking about, downtown and what's going to happen there in a couple of years, but we'll get to that story when it arrives. But Micaela, the baseball team themselves, even though they were 24 games under 500 about 10 days ago, they said, you know what, let's try to become the hottest team in baseball. I think the Phillies maybe still have that crowd right now, but the Royals are close, and it's kind of funny, right? It's almost like how serious can you take it? But you kind of go individually. Noah Cameron's putting together some gems. Michael Wacha's pitching well. Pasquatch is actually back performing well this month. You got Bobby Witt, of course, in the mix, but this 8-game win streak is on the line. You're headed to another country, right? It's the Blue Jays. What happens? Do they keep the win streak? Do they move it to 11, or does this thing come to a close here tonight? What do you think?
Well, first off, I find it hilarious. I think they do this every year, where
I know.
Last 2 years. I know that 2 years ago, I think it was obviously the playoff race, and they had a shot. And I think they, if I remember correctly, just butchered some things there toward the end, but still had somewhat of hope for the fans and stuff there as they, moved on to the playoffs. But no, I think it's hilarious. They always do this each year, where they give fans some hope. And it's fun to watch. And obviously, too, when you have a player like Bobby Witt still kind of making some gains in, the AL MVP race, I think that's fun to see, because it could be worse. You could have a team where no one's even talking about them, or a team like, again, the Padres. Everyone's talking about their new ownership group that, if you're reading into it, a lot of people are going to say we're going to suck, or a lot of people are going to say, hey, something will be different here, because it's been funny to watch on social media. But no, I mean, for the Royals, it's just a matter of why do they do this toward the end, or also when it doesn't really matter, they're already out of the race. Why couldn't they have done this early on in the season when they really needed it? I think back to May when they had that horrible losing streak. And honestly, going back to curses, Hawaiian Brothers, they did it, because they had so many big home wins with that promo. If they had 6 or more runs in a game, right, you could get free Hawaiian Brothers, and then they were winning too much at home, and then boom, they pulled that promo, and look, you got to think deeply about these things.
Curse of the Bros. I've been fighting with people on Twitter for a few days now about whether or not the Royals have a playoff chance.
Yeah.
I'll give the optimists credit. They're on ESPN, their little playoff probability predictor went from less than 0.1% to exactly 0.1%. So they're moving up in the world. Yeah. Yeah. Royals aside, the one thing that can get our mind off of the Royals this time of year is high school football coming up. I'll just ask you, what schools have you kind of been out to over the last week or so, and are you guys talking about and looking forward to? I'll give you the floor on some high school football.
Yeah, I'll just kind of start in chronological order. We first checked in with Capon. As we know, they're moving the classes back up to 5A, but that was fun to watch them win the 4A title last year. Weston Sharks finally getting his trophy. Love to see it. Hope that they can, do it again in 5A, but I was there at that playoff loss in 2023 when they lost to Mill Valley, and they were so close. They had Amari Elias, and they had it all going for them. But no, hopefully 5A will treat them well this year. Northwest, they're going for their first ever, trophy, their first hardware. I think they always have a strong team. It's just a matter of, can they really just execute when it comes down to it, and especially in the City League and stuff like that. Jalen Mason, right, is there still for quarterback. And then, some good guys on defense. Everyone always talks about their running back room, too. Then keep on going. Derby building off of last season's momentum, but it was their first. They matched as many losses as they had last year, 8-4 record. That was their most losses since 2011. So it's not a bleak finish, but for Derby, it was. So let's see if they can reverse that. And 2 or 3 more. Carroll we've been to. I love Chris Jacks. Oh, my gosh. Those guys have really embraced their new head coach, and I really hope they can beat Northwest the first game of the season. It's been a while. And then we just checked in with actually Salina South yesterday because they were, a little hot there toward the end in the postseason. Of course, Salina Central beat them in the sectional round, but they have also a newer coach in Christian Azores that's really rebuilding that program, so that's been fun to see.
All right, Micaela, I encourage you. I was telling the folks in the A block of the show to get on out as we have gone to our sponsor locations. We have flooded the streets of Wichita, and we have released the 21st annual high school football guide, the South Central Kansas edition. It's 64 high school football previews and a ton of local sponsors who share the same vision as you do, Micaela, of supporting high school sports. If you are a fan of the Northwest Grizzlies or Wichita Heights or the Falcons, maybe the Southeast Buffaloes, go to Athena Jewelry, maybe Taco Pronto, or check out Renewal by Anderson. Maybe you're a fan of the Pioneers from Wichita West, the Titans of Wichita South. Check out Moneytown Pawn Shop, maybe rooting on the Colts of Hayesville Campus, or the Mavs of May South. Check out Allied Battery and Continental Truck Accessories there, Locations to pick up your high school football guide for the 2026 season. Micaela, I got to ask you this.
Don't act like you're not impressed.
You like it? I think she likes
impressed. I'm going to the streets on my break tonight. I'm going to the streets to find this.
There you go. Those businesses may be closed, but tomorrow morning, get after it.
Perfect. Bye, guys.
All right, we'll see you. Drop a follow on Micaela's social medias, the X, the Twitter world. She's one of the best to follow for the latest updates. All right, guys. We'll take a breather. Come on back. 522-1410.
This segment of the Press Box is brought to you by Wichita Clear Bra, the ultimate car care and protection. Online at wichitaclearbra.com.
The Press Box on KGSO.
This is The Herd.
He is V8 Plus.
With Colin Cowherd.
Now, we have a massive MVP debate in the National League. Pete Crow Armstrong and Shohei Ohtani for the Dodgers. It's not a legacy debate. This is going to come down to at-bats overwhelmingly and defense, which Ohtani doesn't play. PCA is the favorite.
This is The Herd.
Weekdays at 11 a.m. right here on KGSO and on the SC Wichita app.
Fall is rapidly approaching, and the ideal time to core aerate and seed a fescue lawn is September 1st through mid-October. Let the professionals at Meadowlark Landscape and Design give you an honest assessment of your lawn and its needs. They offer core aeration, overseeding, and dethatching services. Call them today, 316-880-0227, 316-880-0227, and get on their schedule for this fall. It's Meadowlark Landscape and Design, the trusted partner of Steckline Communications.
Need life insurance but have diabetes, high blood pressure, or on anxiety meds? If you're a 50-year-old male, even porky, or with type 2 diabetes, $1 million of life insurance may only cost you about $200 a month. For affordable term life insurance, call Term Provider and speak with Big Lou at 800-444-2013. 800-444-2013 or visit biglou.com. Remember, Big Lou's like you. He's on meds too. 800-444-2013.
Start your day the delicious way at Mr. B's Daylight Donuts in Goddard. Fresh donuts, pastries, and breakfast favorites are made daily and waiting for you every morning. From classic glazed donuts and warm cinnamon rolls to tasty breakfasts like biscuits and gravy and hot coffee, Mr. B's has something for everyone. Whether you're grabbing breakfast on the go or picking up treats for the office, make Mr. B's Daylight Donuts your first stop of the day. Stop by today and taste the difference that fresh makes at Mr. B's Daylight Donuts in Goddard. Something to crow about.
This is Stu Gatz and Company live.
The audience wants this.
You're listening to Stu Gatz and Company live.
Taylor told me he's got a football appetizer.
ESPN's Ben Solak said the Bears are on regression watch, but the Bears are also on elite watch.
Wow. Covered all his bases.
Anything can happen with the Chicago Bears this season.
Stu Gatz and Company live.
Weekdays at 2 p.m. on KGSO and on the SC Wichita app.
Hi, I'm Dr. Kathleen Eubanks-Ming with the American Academy of Family Physicians. Bullies use power, strength, or popularity to hurt others emotionally or physically. And while you can't be with your child all the time, there are ways you can help. If your child encounters a bully, tell them to get to a safe place and tell an adult. You can also show them how to block online bullies. Teach them they can be more than a bystander and that they can help their peers. For more on bullying, visit familydoctor.org or talk with your family physician.
Keeping local sports alive. This is Wichita's sports station, KGSO.
Look, someone's favorite team is going to be at rock bottom this upcoming year. We just don't necessarily know who. I got a hunch with a few teams, though. I'm looking at you, Cleveland. Here in the Newell by Anderson Studios, Jay-Z, Sasha B. We asked for your calls. You guys paid attention, and we appreciate it. Joining us now here on the Maximum Outdoor Equipment phone lines. How are you?
Jay-Z, I don't know. I'm doing pretty good. No complaints over here.
Nice, man. What's up?
I don't know. That blood alcohol content was pretty low, Jay. No.
Oh no.
No. All joking aside, let's talk about this whole Daquan Wright fiasco.
Oh, let's do
we're
it.
Experiencing right now. Well, I don't understand why we're screaming at old Lane Monty Kiffin here when he followed the rules, and why we get mad at Daquan Wright, who didn't know that he would have a fifth year of eligibility in June when they passed the law where he entered the draft in April. So go yell at the Congress people, yell at the NCAA, but this is a player who's honestly not even that good. Okay, sure, he was all SEC, but 600 yards, 5 touchdowns. That's not like he's the second coming of Brock Bowers, and he couldn't even make the Cleveland Browns roster, who are about to win a ceiling of 4 games this year. So I think we need to pump the brakes here.
I mean, as far as Daquan Wright, like if you were Daquan Wright, I got to think you try to maximize the money that you make playing from football. And if you can find this loophole in courts, you do. I'm sort of looking at the NCAA and the court systems first. I do understand why Lane Kiffin, sort of with the kill or be killed mentality, right? If someone else is going to scoop him up, I want to have a chance to do so. You could also say, hey, Daquan at a certain point, you played 4 years of college. When you entered college, that was their expectation. You completed the cycle. It wasn't until this summer where you found out, hey, maybe there's this ruling and now it's 5 to play 5. But you signed with an NFL team. And yes, you weren't good enough. Maybe the UFL isn't interesting to you right now, and you want to try to get that bag, so to say, with more NIL in college. So I get where he's coming from, but this makes it a mess, and so many people get involved. There's players now maybe cut, and there's all these guys who are out there thinking, oh, could I be another player to get another season?
Yeah, and I guess my question is like, okay, so the first thing I'm seeing here is Big Ten bars football players with pro contracts from returning to college, and the SEC's kind of talked about that. They're saying, but why does the Big Ten or the SEC have any more power than the NCAA does? That's an NCAA rule too.
True.
If you have a pro contract, you can't come play for any NCAA school. But the courts are saying you can, and why does the Big Ten think it's going to win in court if the NCAA
for the coaches
can?
Or something? Yeah.
Did he have an NFL contract? Yes, but he wasn't drafted. People are saying that he actually got drafted by the Browns, which is false. He wasn't good enough to go in 7 rounds. So if this is an All-American coming back to school, I think it's more of a conversation. But this is somebody that couldn't worst roster in the NFL.
But he could make an impact for the LSU Tigers this season, and I think if he's playing, in any other school in the SEC, if he catches the football, there's going to be some boos from the crowd. They're not going to like this.
True, but how do you blame the guy? I mean, he's not going to make near as much money in the UFL or the CFL as he would in Baton Rouge. So,
right. If I was in Daquan Wright's shoes, and if I'm the player, himself, and I'm looking to squeeze in every ounce of this football journey that I can, I understand that, and so I'm certainly looking above and courts, NCAA, like you should have had the foresight to figure this thing all out and make it in fine print when you came down with the ruling here this summer, whether you're going to allow guys to come back or not.
That'll be interesting to see what Sankey does. See if he tries to copycat the Big Ten, who's obviously the better conference these days.
Top to bottom, at the top, what do you think? The whole way through, Big Ten number 1?
Who cares about the bottom? That's what I say. Like it's about how many national championship contenders do you have?
Look at the last 2 years. They've been the much better conference in the playoffs and overall. I would say the year Michigan won it, the SEC was a little bit better just because there was pretty much Michigan and Ohio State that year that were decent. Mm-hmm. But the last 2 years, I mean, how can you argue? The SEC's got pretty much a losing record in the CFP and haven't sent anyone to the big game in both those years either.
And it feels like just your middle of the pack teams, USC's sometimes been in there. We're seeing Iowa in there. It feels like those are teams, those are programs with rich history that you respect. And if the conference is that stacked that you have real name power here that's just in the middle of the conference, I think that helps out the Big Ten's case as well.
For sure. And, I think the SEC is still, look at the last 25 years, they've won over half of the national championships. So they're still a good conference. Are they the conference anymore? I think this year's kind of balancing on the edge of the knife here. Going to tell us if it's going to be the Big Ten or the SEC. But people that come out and say the SEC is washed, I think drinking a little bit of the Kool-Aid that want to hop on the hate bandwagon. I don't think it's that far yet, but they're definitely not as good as they used to be for sure.
Before you go, can I get a yes or no? Does Daquan Wright play it down for the LSU Tigers this season?
I think Burge Osbury and probably the Louisiana governor is going to try to get his paws in there somehow. But I think after all this, backlash and outcry, I don't think he comes back. If it's me, I'm just going to give him my shot at joining our roster next year.
All right. We appreciate the call, man. Thanks so much.
Thanks, gentlemen. Yep.
Absolutely. 522-1410.
It's interesting because people want to say, how can you blame the players, right? They're just trying to, but you can from this perspective of they had to go out of their way to go get a lawyer and sue someone in court to get that eligibility. It's not like the eligibility just fell in their lap. A rule was made. They didn't like the rule, so they took it to court. And just because they won the case doesn't mean you can't lay any of the blame on them for this happening. Because if they didn't go take it to court, the case never would have happened. So I think that's a little bit simplistic to be like, well, if you were the player, you'd do it too.
You would maybe do it, but there's all the world is it's super fair for someone to say, oh, well, just go get a job. All right, that's fair too.
Yeah. It's interesting, right? Because it's like some of these guys, there's the original suers, and then there's the guys who just like kind of tack themselves onto it because they see that other people are suing. And then there's the guys who just benefit from the ruling that comes from the suing. But the original suers, I think, have a little bit more to do with this than people want to account for. But they got lawyers approaching them like, hey, you got a case. Let me go do this.
You do have to go out of your way, right, to hire some lawyers and really fight the NCAA.
This is Stu Gatz and Company live.
The audience wants this.
You're listening to Stu Gatz and Company live.
The NBA investigated whether or not Ballmer directly knew about how they were paying Kawhi Leonard. Their investigators came back and said, Ballmer had no idea. Get the hell out of here. There is no way that entire thing goes down without Steve Ballmer knowing it's going down.
Stu Gatz and Company live.
Weekdays at 2 p.m. on KGSO and on the SC Wichita app.
Football is here, and we are all excited to celebrate at Quincy's Bar and Grill. Quincy's Bar and Grill is packed full of TVs, so you won't miss any of the action of your favorite team.
Whether it's college or the NFL.
You can catch it all at Quincy's Bar and Grill, the longest-running sports bar and grill in Wichita. While you're there, grab a cold one with friends or grab something to eat from the great Quincy's Bar and Grill menu. Thursday through Sunday, you can catch your favorite football team at Quincy's Bar and Grill, 2047 Northwest Street, and online at quincy'swichita.com.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to the end of summer sale at AutoZone. We're celebrating the end of long days and short nights with big deals for a short time. Like on Wash and Wax, you can get 3 Meguiar's products for just $20. Need new brakes? Duralast brake pads are free with the purchase of Duralast rotors. We've also got oil deals and more. We're ending the summer right with the end of summer sale at AutoZone.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
Good morning, class. A quick head count. Tiffany.
Here.
Zach.
Yup.
Steven. Steven. Is he absent again?
For many kids, just getting to school feels like a challenge. Staying through graduation is even harder. That's where Communities in Schools comes in. A powerful community of caring adults, working with vulnerable kids in schools every day, helping them overcome the barriers that stand in the way of learning. Hunger, homelessness, health problems, and even emotional trauma. Communities in Schools. We're inside schools partnering with teachers and counselors, empowering at-risk kids by providing supportive relationships, doing whatever it takes to help them thrive in school and have brighter futures. Communities in Schools. We're in schools to help kids stay in school. See how we help all kids succeed at communitiesinschools.org.
Here at Stackline Communications, we want everyone to have fun and win prizes from our great stations. But if you do win, here are some of the rules we want everyone to know. One person per family can win a prize from each station each month. In order to enter, you must be a legal resident of the United States and 18 years of age or older on the date of entry. The station does reserve the right to examine identification and may reasonably choose to accept or deny awarding the prize based on the identification presented. Employees of the radio station and contest sponsors and their respective parent entities, subsidiaries, affiliated companies, and advertising and promotion agencies, along with the immediate family, are not eligible to enter into the giveaways. No purchase is necessary, and all entries become property of the station and will not be acknowledged or returned. Entries that are received that are mutilated, tampered with, ineligible, incomplete, or from ineligible entrants may be disqualified at the station's sole discretion. For more information on the rules applied to contests conducted by Stackline Communications, you can go to the headquarters at 1632 South Mays Road in Wichita, Kansas.
I like storms.
It's okay. Let's talk about how we can stay safe during a storm. The safest place to take shelter from a tornado or a windstorm is in an interior room, on the lowest level of a building, or in a basement or a safe room.
Talk to your child about storm safety today. For more information, visit ksready.gov. A message from the Kansas Division of Emergency Management.
This is Wichita's sports station, K230PY, 93.9 FM, 1410 AM, and 99.7 HD3. KGSO Belle Plaine, Wichita. Broadcasting live from the KGSO studios in West Wichita.
I feel more informed when I listen.
This is The Press Box on Wichita's sports station, KGSO.
The Press Box on KGSO.
Hey there, folks. Welcome on back. It's the Press Box, 4 o'clock hour into the books. You made it to hour 2 here of the program in the Renewal by Anderson Studios, where expert installation is done right and right on schedule. Jacob Zimmerman, Sasha Bushka, talking sports Monday through Friday, 4 to 6. We do this on the radio. We are also on our website, kgso.com, the SC Wichita app. Shout out to 1480 KQAM for some news talk. If you like country, 99.7 Hank FM is the spot for you. And if you know Spanish, La Raza 102.5, they got you covered. And, of course, KGSO all on the SC Wichita app. Drop your comments on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, or Twitch. Devin, you were saying Jamar is questionable for Week 1. Bengals fans have been questionable since 1968. Ooh, dropping the ghost emoji. Yeah, tough franchise to root on for. Your thoughts, your concerns, your comments, always welcome. 316-522-1410 on the Maximum Outdoor Equipment phone lines. Hour 1 of the show. Talked a little Walker injury. Kenneth Walker there with the Chiefs. Had Micaela Dea on from Cake Sports. And, yeah, the ongoing saga with Daquan Wright trying to be the first to go from the NFL back to college football. Hour 2, well, I saw a little bit of college baseball news I want to get into a little bit. Maybe we'll retouch there on that Big Ten player ban. I want to talk about Deshaun Watson, and maybe we're going to draft some stadiums. We'll have some fun before the show gets completed. Sasha, what's up, man?
I'm fired up for hour number 2. Lots to get to. The stadium thing's going to be fun. I'm excited to see what kind of calls we get. Football season's just around the corner, folks, and I want to hear what you're thinking about your favorite teams. It's going to be a good hour. I can feel it.
It feels like a big corner, man. It's taken a while to get around this bend.
It's late this year. Like it really is. September 9th is like the latest the NFL's ever started, I think.
Well, I think, didn't KU play in Week 0 and K-State last season?
KU and K-State played in Week 0.
That
K-State
really
was in Ireland. And Week 0 was a week, like basically a full week earlier, just because of the way the calendar fell this year. And so, like, I actually saw it. Remember the fight between Avery Johnson's brother and dad or whatever?
Yeah, I didn't know if we wanted to shy away from that, but yeah, I was nasty.
We talked about it when it happened last year. Anyways,
I saw
it happened a year ago today, so that means that game was going on basically right now last year.
That's
and we still a couple
sadly
weeks away.
How I knew exactly what you were meaning by, we're a little delayed with the calendar this year, and Week 0 is not even until this weekend here this year, and so yeah, that's certainly quite the landmark there in Ireland. Just manage the brewskis a little bit. I know K-State's adjusted their rules. You don't got to be drinking in the beer gardens. You can return to your seats. Yeah, best of luck there watching for your viewer experience in Manhattan.
I got a question for you about yesterday.
Shoot.
Did you talk about Lil Skip at all?
I did not. Let's talk a little
bit
about
something that came down over the weekend that should be talked about a little bit, I think. Reese Alston narrowed his list of schools down to 7, and Wichita State made the final cut of 7. And I even saw some reporting that really there's like a top 4 and Wichita State's one of the 4. Just based on some articles that were written, like with the inside scoop of his recruitment. But officially, he put 7 teams on his little graphic, and Wichita State was one of them. So, hey, listen, a guy can dream.
I got to think that dream, I don't know what the percentage is of turning reality, but yeah, if you go from 1-7 to a 25% chance, a true 1-4, look, I think it just helps Wichita State for being in the buzz, and I think the connection with a PJ Kuznard at Wichita State is showing how legit, how strong that connection can be. And look, I think Reese Alston here, if it's a situation where WSU is not having to forkload a high percentage of their total NIL budget, I am all for this. Am I wanting them to take a major pay cut? No, I wanted them to get to WSU somehow, some way. But I think, for the sake of the overall team, if we can bring Reese Alston onto the squad and have it not, come at the cost of other players that we deem necessary, then by all means,
the truth of the matter
go.
is, I've heard some college basketball people talking about this. Getting an incoming freshman is actually quite a bit cheaper than getting like a high-profile transfer in a lot of cases, because like Milan Momcilovic is making $7 million at Kentucky this year. The KU was not giving that to Darren Peterson last year. Not $7 million. I don't know what the number was, but it wasn't $7 million, and I don't think AJ DeBonsa got $7 million either. And so it is a little bit more palatable to get like an incoming freshman than to go out and get the best transfer in the transfer portal.
Right, I think there's even a big gap between a projected number one pick versus a guy who's maybe just a first rounder. And I think, probably where that comes from is Milan Momcilovic has already put together a lot of these highlights. He's been on the graphics for selling tickets with Iowa State. Like he and his face, right, his name, image, and likeness, to really break it down, has already generated some income in college sports. And so maybe that's why, like, hey, college sports already know who this guy is. Maybe that's why he's more expensive compared to a fresh face here as an incoming freshman. But look, I think getting the Reese Alston, son of Rafer Alston, would be a major addition, and it would put the Shockers on the map from a national perspective and saying, hey, like, the people who break down the NBA draft for a living, the people who are, managing high school recruiting, there's just, that extra boost of conversation around the country about WSU.
Yeah, and from a recruiting standpoint, it's not like, hey, we're getting back to our recruiting ways. This would be completely new territory for Wichita State, unless you want to go back to the 80s with maybe like guys like Antoine Carr, but they didn't really have like ratings and stuff for guys back then. But in modern times, in this century, Wichita State's never been close to a recruit like this.
And if we think of modern times, like back 10, 15 years ago, 20 years ago, if you brought in a number one overall recruit or anybody in like the top 20, right, I think that was a big deal. And there wasn't necessarily this pecking order of, oh man, all these senior guards who were, high recruits in the transfer rankings. It feels for an incoming freshman, especially now with the influx of talent from overseas, I made the argument, hey, like, are we now making it too hard for kids to go play D1 basketball? But you could see a path now where instead of going to a high-level blue blood program, it's maybe actually best for the development of a Reese Alston to go to an American Athletic Conference, to go to a Wichita State where he can, unquestionably start. I mean, we see at these power programs how, top 25 guys don't even start as freshmen, right? No doubt about it. He's probably going to start. And then he's going to have the ball in his hands a lot, a high usage rate. That's what the NBA actually wants to see, maybe more so than you just being somebody's backup.
Yeah, there's definitely an argument to be made for that, right? Like you're not going to get recruited over. You're not going to have a bunch of transfer portal guys ahead of you. So there's definitely an argument to be made for that. The counter argument would be like if you could go to let's say Houston in the Big 12 and you are a starter there, then you're playing against Big 12 competition instead of American competition. And so that's the counter argument. But like I've seen guys go to Houston and not play for a couple of years. Like that's not a rare occurrence at all.
Devin, trust me, Alston will get paid. I bet my bottom dollar he comes to Wichita State. That's quite the bet, Devin. You pulling the money out from the bottom of the mattress for this one. Him and PJ have been together since they were kids. You talking about Pierre or PJ? NIL might be a bigger deal, bigger next year when WSU makes the tournament this upcoming season. You're right. We make the tournament. We make that opening round, maybe win a game. That's extra revenue that finds its way to the university, and that's the success that you want to see if you are potentially an incoming recruit. You want to go to a program that's not viewed in any way as a mid-major that's at a supreme deficit. I mean, look at these other schools that were listed: Houston, title contender in all of college basketball. Kentucky, Mark Pope, they've got quite the budget. LSU, Tennessee, Vanderbilt, those are all SEC schools that can make the tournament. Louisville has been like a team that I feel like you didn't really see a ton. Maybe Rick Pitino a little bit, but then since then, like I feel like Louisville's made a resurgence when it comes to recruiting.
They had a
basketball.
couple down years. They struggled after Pitino was gone, but they're starting to rebound, right? And they had a pretty good year last year, and they're starting to get it figured out in the Bluegrass State, the other school other than Kentucky. So yeah, and I'm reading a little bit that maybe Louisville's the favorite in this deal. Louisville's went out and got Flory Badunga in the portal this year and also if he ends up being eligible, Seth Trimble, they went out and got him from North Carolina. So Louisville's they seem to have quite a budget on their hands, same as Kentucky.
And I think continuity could help because Reese Alston this year could be looking around and, hey, these are the rosters as currently constructed, and all of a sudden next season it's completely different. And
it's hard.
You haven't met any of the guys on the team. Like if you're going to Wichita State, you think, okay, maybe a TJ Williams is back for another season. It's now 5 to play 5. Maybe you got a Jordan Friesen, sticking around. Like who knows? Like, and then of course the Kuznard connection. Maybe he knows Dylan Batia as well. If these players are here, that only helps.
It is hard in college basketball in today's age to play the roster game. Like, oh, these are the guys I'm going to be playing with. These are the guys that are going to be gone, because you just don't know what rosters are going to look like from year to year. But Paul Mills is starting to put together a little bit of a track record where maybe you do know a little bit more about what their roster is going to look like.
Last question here on this, and it is I don't mean it to be a negative. Is it better for Wichita State's chances to get Alston if he raises in the rankings or if he drops? Because he's obviously got one more year of high school hoops in him.
I don't think it matters that much, right? Like, as long as he doesn't lose offers, right, it's going to come down to those 7 teams and where he thinks is the best fit. I guess theoretically, if he rose in the rankings, then new suitors could come in, but he's already got Kentucky and Houston after him. It's already the cream of the crop. So Wichita State's going to have to punch above their weight class no matter what he does in the rankings in order to secure this commitment.
I like the way you put it, man. I really do. It's an uphill battle for WSU, but if you land them, you can kind of look at a Memphis and say, you got nothing over us now.
Yeah.
You got nothing over us. All right, let's go to the Maximum Outdoor Orchard phone lines. You're inside the press box. What's up?
Not much. How's it going, guys? About this recruit, I think one of the things is that the fact that WSU is in the mix says a lot about where the trajectory of this program is going.
Yeah.
I know he has that Kuznard connection, but I would be interested to see what a lot of these other people, what their reaction is when they say, oh, my God, WSU's in the mix for this guy. It's good to be in the mix and not, instead of being versus not in the mix. And also, is it possible that does he play the same position? What is his position? Is he like a Giles type, or
I think
how do we compare it?
He's
like a combo
guard. Yeah, he's 6'3". He could definitely play the point, but could play off the ball as well, I think.
So I wonder if there's something, the fact of what Mills was able to do with Asmus and was able to do with Giles. I wonder if that kind of draws, if you're going to be a shooter and you love shooting the ball. He said two good guards that have come through his program that have just lit it up.
Yeah.
So maybe that's part of
good track record. Yeah,
for sure. And I can guarantee you from what we've heard about Paul Mills is when Reese Alston's coming to campus, they're looking at film and Paul Mills is telling them, this is what I would do with you. This is how I would make you successful. This is how I would use your skill set. Like, we heard that about all the transfers he brought in this year. They talked about it in the interviews after the fact, and he got signatures from every single guy who came on campus in the transfer portal this year based on basically telling them, like, this is our plan for you. And so I'm sure he's doing similar things in the high school recruiting realm. I also don't think, like, Wichita State's probably not going to do a ton of high school recruiting. They're if they can get a gym like this, they'll do it. But for the most part, they're not going to bring in a ton of freshmen year to year, and that goes for a lot of universities.
Yeah. So is it? Has he made a visit yet? Did he make a visit last year? Does he have a visit coming?
Yeah, he made an official last year, and he may come back this year. But
I want to say, like, I heard in the works that he made like a He made a second visit, or was the first one earlier on?
I think he took an official during the season and then came back later on, like this past summer. And then he was seen wearing Wichita State gear down in Houston and pick up games and stuff. So it's been a little drumbeat on
and
this
he was at one game this year.
Yeah, he was at a game this year. Yeah.
Well, if he comes back, man, we better pack that house and show him how loud it can be.
Oh, absolutely. That's what we got to do, man. We got to go on a run.
Yeah. Thanks for the call.
For sure.
Appreciate it.
Making the Roundhouse the Loud House. Okay, I do want to switch on to a little college baseball news that's coming out. This was sort of already in the works, but they've made it official after testing it out in the SEC championship last season. The ABS, the automated balls and strike system, is coming to college baseball. And I think what's really interesting, the kicker for me, it's not just D1. It's not just D2, it's D3 as well. They're going to get the technology available. I'm sure there's some questions as far as who provides this equipment. Does it come from the school's budget? Does the NCAA pay for this thing? But I think the ABS system, it was only a matter of time before it worked its way down to college. I think the pros in Major League Baseball have liked it a lot, both pitchers and batters. I think, there's every once in a while there's a little bit of controversy as far as, did he do the signal in time? But I think it's a way to make the game more accurate, more precise. I mean, we're already busting out review for safe or not at first base, right? I think, just kind of, critiquing and finalizing, hey, this is the strike zone. So many games in baseball come down to that final strike three, and the runner, the batter was already running on over the first base, and he's like, wait, what's going on? And vice versa. I think the ABS system, I was a fan when it first came out, and I don't think I've seen enough people oppose it to say, no, I'm going to halt this momentum and keep it from coming to college.
Yeah, and I'll say this, according to this press release from the Associated Press, they voted to give teams the option, when available, of implementing a system to challenge called balls and strikes in regular season and postseason games, meaning it won't be in every stadium at every level. It's going to be, I guess, up to the home teams to decide, and that's Division 1, 2, and 3. And so, I think it's if the stadium has the technology to implement it, right, and they can use it, I think it's something you should do. But that makes more sense to me than like every Division 3 school has to put in ABS technology now. That's not realistic.
I guess, and maybe it's not realistic. I would like the idea of things being universal. I just don't want it to be like the shot clock that we've seen like in high school basketball, where certain teams have it and then they get to state and you don't have it, or you didn't and now you do. Like having to all of a sudden adjust to the variables depending on who you're playing or what format, I think is a little tough. But if you can sort of finalize and say, hey, these conferences in D3 are all going to have it and these conferences aren't, you can kind of make it a little bit more specific. But I do think the ABS overall, D1, no question. D2, if you can pull it off, that's great. I like that they tested it out, and I hardly heard any controversy at all from last year's college baseball Big 12 championship, and so I see this as a plus. I think this is fair on both sides. It's not like it helps out certain teams and leaves others out of the dust, unless you're maybe talking about D3 there, where it's not 100% across the board. But I like the ABS system, and the main thing is it doesn't take long at all to pull it up on the big screen and see exactly what the call was.
Yeah, it works in Major League Baseball, right? Because a batter or a pitcher or a catcher challenges the call, and then boom, it goes up on the big screen, and the crowd gets into it and sees whether they're right or wrong. But not every collegiate park has the technology available to put that on a big screen somewhere. So I feel like you're going to get a situation where a guy challenges it and nobody in the crowd really knows what's going on, and then the umpire is just like, oh, that strike is now a ball, or that ball is now a strike, and because it's just maybe looked at by somebody on a monitor somewhere and then relayed down to the umpire.
True. I could see the process taking a little bit longer, but at the same time, it's kind of rare. Like, you're given two chances.
Two chances, if you get it right, you keep your chances. Yeah. So, if an umpire is really bad, you could be going for a while. in a game. But I think I like the 2 chances thing, and that you keep them if you get them right. I think it's small enough that you're not just going to challenge every time for no reason, but it gives you enough leeway. You can miss one and still not be out the rest of the game, but you have to be more careful about it if you miss one. So I think that's a good way to do it.
There's victory for the umpires, too. I've thought, why wouldn't the best umpires in Major League Baseball or college baseball actually want this to be a thing? Because especially for college umpires, they're wanting to rise up the ranks. I'm sure they want to, officiate and umpire a couple of Major League Baseball games. Having these accuracy percentages really helps their case because, before ABS, how would you really know how accurate and how, who are the best of the best umpires in Major League Baseball as opposed to just the ones who have been doing it the longest time? Yeah,
it's fair. Now, you have to also look into the fact that umpires have unions and things like that too. So I don't think it's going to be anytime soon that the Major League Baseball is just like, hey, we're just – because this would be the real way to do it is, hey, the bottom 5% of umpires in the ABS system every year are gone.
Relegated.
The top 5% from the minor leagues are up, and there you go. But with their unions and everything, I don't think that's going to happen anytime soon.
But I do think having the numbers in place does help out with someone's case.
Yeah.
To, hey, I deserve to be a minor league baseball official. Here was my ABS, rates from this last season of how accurate I was. I think that helps out the umpires a little bit more than you think, aside from just the players. And then, look, it's kind of cool with the players. Maybe you don't get all the home plates, temper tantrums that are iconic to the sport, but I think for a sport so specific, you got to get the call right. We don't want, playoff games ending on bad ball strike calls. Let's get it down to a T.
Yeah, it's interesting. The World Baseball Classic ended on a bad call this year, and it was like the last game that's ever going to be played by major leaguers that didn't have ABS.
And when you have the ABS, okay, I at least have a challenge in my back pocket. I don't have to swing at this 50-50 ball. Strategy.
Call the Press Box now on the Maximum Outdoor Equipment phone lines at 522-1410.
The Press Box on KGSO.
High school football season is here, and KGSO Sports Radio is your home for the Golden Eagles. Bishop Carroll is looking to flex their muscles out on the gridiron this fall and cause havoc in the Greater Wichita Athletic League. Tune in on Friday night as award-winning broadcaster Doug Downs and his team bring the action to life. Hear every touchdown, every story with Bishop Carroll football right here on 1410, 93.9 and the SC Wichita app. Don't forget about the Tuesday night coaches show and the Saturday morning sports page for further coverage. Go Eagles!
Every school pickup line has a main character. Most days, it's the kids. But once a year, a parent pulls up in a brand new Kia Telluride. And suddenly, all eyes are on Mom.
Is that the new one? I heard it comes in a hybrid now. I heard it has heated seats in all 3 rows.
And for a moment, the kids aren't the only ones in the spotlight. This August, let that parent be you, because Mom deserves to shine too. Or if it's your student's turn to get behind the wheel, find great starter cars like the K4 sedan and K4 hatchback. Plus, you can get 0% financing on brand new Sportage and Sorrento models. And every new Kia is backed by our unbeatable 10-year, 100,000-mile limited powertrain warranty. Whichever model you choose, we have big savings on great vehicles for that main character energy. Only at Midwest Kia.
We want to see ya in a Midwest Kia.
With approved credit, see dealer for details. Warranties a limited powertrain warranty.
There's always something happening at Halligan's in Wichita. Enjoy happy hour every day from 3 to 6 p.m.
Plus, enjoy a different food and drink special every day of the week.
From Taco Tuesdays to Whiskey Wednesdays to half-price burgers every Thursday. Great food, cold drinks, live entertainment, and the neighborhood atmosphere you've been looking for. It's Halligan's in Wichita, 1106 South Seneca, and online at Halligans.com. Come hungry, leave happy.
Need life insurance but have diabetes, high blood pressure, or on anxiety meds? If you're a 50-year-old male, even porky, or with type 2 diabetes, $1 million of life insurance may only cost you about $200 a month. For affordable term life insurance, call Term Provider and speak with Big Lou at 800-444-2013. 800-444-2013 or visit biglou.com. Remember, Big Lou's like you. He's on meds too. 800-444-2013.
KGSO Studio, brought to you by Renewal by Anderson. Expert installation done right. Right on schedule. Find them online at renewalbyanderson.com. Remember, today you listen to In the Zone on Wichita's sports station, KGSO.
Welcome on back. It is the Press Box. Thanks for being with us here on this Tuesday early evening, 522-1410. Give us your calls on the Maximum Outdoor Equipment phone line. Something that you're just itching to debate us about, shoot on the phones or comment on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, or Twitch. Just talking a little bit about Reese Alston, 5-star recruit. Maybe you're going to come to Wichita State. Who knows? Time will tell. I'll just also discussing a little bit about the ABS system coming to college baseball. I'll get into some, Cleveland Brown stuff with Deshaun Watson and Shadur Sanders here a little bit. Maybe going to shine some light on Nick Chubb. But, Sasha, it's been a little while, and we wanted to do a draft. It's a good day to do a draft. So we're going to do one. We are drafting. What's our subject of choice? Look, we're heading into football season, right? Be tossing pigskin. Some of you guys are going to be buying some tickets. Maybe it's Arrowhead. Maybe it's Mile High. Maybe it's Jerry World. I don't know where you're going. You're in the big 2026, but I encourage you. Spend the money, take the trip, as we're going to be ranking NFL stadiums on the Press Box. Sasha, any opening statements here?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of ways to look at this, right? You've got a lot of newer stadiums that have the cool translucent roofs, and you've got the retractable roofs, and
there you go.
They've got a lot of modern amenities, and they're a lot of fun. You got some of the older open air stadiums, so you could look at it from a historic standpoint. You could also look at it from what's the best home field advantage, what's the coolest, the most amenities. So I think there's a lot of different directions we could go here, but we won't put any major criteria on it. We'll just choose based on our own personal taste.
All right. 5 each?
5 each.
Am I getting the first pick?
I'll give you the first pick this time.
All right. This is going to be tough because, you can factor in a little bit of your personal experience, right? Maybe who you're a fan of, and then kind of just pay respects to all-time history as well. Okay. I'm going to start things off. The number 1 overall selection. This is tough. I've got a lot of power here in my hands for the number 1 overall pick. You can't botch this. I will go in and choose a stadium I have been in. And I think, from the crowd pregame chants, to the actual game itself, the glass windows, just how everything looked inside. I'm going to go with U.S. Bank Stadium, home of the Minnesota Vikings. The skull chant is big. I know Minnesota, Minneapolis, people think it's kind of a dump right now, but the stadium is far from it. That thing's a beauty. I got to take a number one.
I have not seen, or I've not been in U.S. Bank Stadium, but I've seen it from the outside, and it looks really cool. It's one of those dome stadiums that has light coming through, right?
Yeah.
Like and so
sick.
I have some relatives that are big Vikings fans that have gone several times, and so it's a pretty good pick. I can understand if you've been there why you would pick that. I thought you were going to go like SoFi, but I told myself before this draft that depending on how you went, I was going to go the opposite, meaning like if you chose like a modern stadium that was cool looking and that sort of thing, then with my first pick, I'm going to go to history, tradition, and I'm not going to choose Arrowhead right out of the gate like some people might assume, although I have been in Arrowhead. I'm going to choose a stadium that I've never been in, but it's not the oldest stadium in the NFL. The oldest stadium in the NFL is, at least according to Wikipedia, Soldier Field, where the Bears play. It's been around since 1924, but I'm going to go to maybe the most history in the NFL, Titletown, Green Bay, Wisconsin, Lambeau Field.
The Lambeau Leap. Pretty iconic up in Green Bay. Yeah. I understand. I think that's a good one. That probably would have been a top 5 selection for me at some point if I didn't take that. If you didn't take it, excuse me. Look, I think Lambeau Field, Aaron Rodgers, Brett Favre. You think of some iconic moments that have happened there at that stadium. And I know it's cold. They don't really get to. They get to host the draft. You don't really get to host the Super Bowl there at Lambeau, but it's kind of like the Yankee Stadium equivalent for the NFL.
Yeah, well, the Yankees built a new one, but more like Wrigley or Fenway, I'd say. Yeah.
All right. Where am I going to go for my number 2 pick here in our NFL stadiums? Football draft. This is tough. I got to give respect, and I may end up doing this twice. Some of the teams in my favorite squad's division have some nice stadiums, man.
Yeah.
In the NFC South. The football product's maybe not the greatest, but look, this thing has hosted everything but this team's playoff game. We're going to Atlanta for the Mercedes-Benz Dome. That thing is a beauty.
It's cool looking on TV. And I'm a little disappointed because I have been in a major NFL football stadium in Atlanta, and it was not the Mercedes-Benz Stadium because it was in 2013 before it was built. It was whatever the Georgia Dome, I guess, is what it was called. But yeah, I went to the Final Four in Atlanta in 2013, but did not get to see Mercedes-Benz Stadium, so I'm disappointed by that. But it's a good pick. It looks really cool on TV. Looks like a lot of fun. I gotta get one of these modern stadiums on in my repertoire here, and I'm gonna go with kind of the most expensive one that's been built and the kind of the class, I think, in terms of modern stadiums and what they look like on TV and all the different things that come with it. And I'll go with SoFi Stadium in Los Angeles.
SoFi. LA Rams. I mean, those Rams uniforms are spicy. I think the rooftop, what's even going on with the roof? Or do they got like a new design planned for
it's like a canopy.
2030?
They've had lightning delays there, actually. Because it's a dome, right? Rain can't get in or anything, but it's more of an open air canopy that like you still have to be careful of weather a little bit, I guess. I don't understand it all. I know they have one of those oval overhead boards, which is what they have at
like
in
floating.
Atlanta as well. And those I find very cool. Stadiums that
It's
have
like a
those.
blimp there, man.
Yeah.
That is gnarly. I'm looking at some photos. SoFi Stadium. All right. Ooh, where do I want to go next here? I've got it. It happens to be another one I've been in.
Okay.
And due to like COVID policies at the time, I wasn't even able to go to an NFL game. But I was able to go to a college game here. And it wasn't too far away from where I lived at the time. Allegiant Stadium in Las Vegas for the Raiders. A lot of the vocabulary you were using for SoFi, I was almost thinking you were going to steal Allegiant from me. I think that's a good pick at 3. I almost like the Raiders colors mixed in with like the black seats and everything. I mean, you look into the ceiling of the place and you kind of just stare off into space.
It's all black
for a
from
good
the
minute.
outside. It's like a Darth Vader Raiders. Yeah, it fits the Raiders for sure. I've heard it's really nice. Not been there yet. I will pick one next that I've been to though, and this one kind of splits the difference because it's old, right? It's actually it's only 3 years newer than Arrowhead, but you would be surprised how nice it is for such an old stadium, a 50-year-old stadium. It's the precursor to all of these newfangled ones we've been talking about in Minnesota and Atlanta and LA, and I guarantee you is like. I bet you it was the nicest stadium in the world at the time it was built, and it's still pretty cool on the inside to be inside a dome stadium like this. I'll go with the Caesars Superdome in New Orleans.
Caesars, the Superdome in New Orleans. Man, the Saints.
Plus,
I won't call them the Aints this time.
Plus, if you want to go to like home field advantage, when the Saints were rolling with Drew Brees, like in their heyday,
blocking punts.
Them in Seattle had the best home field advantage in the league.
Devin, you're telling me that you were there in person for the Minneapolis Miracle. I'm going to need some proof. You think the Seahawks is pretty nice? I'm
Devin,
considering them.
quit throwing stuff out there, man. We're trying to have a draft here, Devin. We haven't made all our picks yet.
You giving me some inside sources? You like someone's GM putting out the pick? No, Dev. All right, I'm gonna give respect here to another team in my division. I'm gonna go with Raymond James, Tampa Bay.
Place looks like a dump to me.
Here's the
what's cool about
why.
it?
It's the big old ship they have.
Looks like a
you
dump.
see it? That thing's been around there forever. That's pretty iconic, man. I gotta admit.
So I found like
having the ship, the boat. Oh, dude, that's a nice touch. I don't think there's, like, yes, you have better technical stadiums, but I don't know if there's a team that's, like, made an emphasis, hey, we have to have something that directly relates to our mascot that makes up the formation of the stadium. I don't think there's anything else. And for what it's, I don't know what it is with Hanson, who does the red zone. He always says Raymond James Stadium 10 times more than any other stadium. It's like he's paid to do it. And for that point, it's stuck in my head for my fourth round selection.
I think it's kind of just like a basic outdoor stadium. I guess there's a ship coming off the front or something. I don't know. That wouldn't be my thing. I'll go where Devin was going. I'll go Lumen Field. It's an outdoor open air stadium that's pretty modern still, and it's known as the loudest outdoor. It and Arrowhead are like the two loudest outdoor venues in the world, and it's been a really great home field advantage for Seattle over the course of time.
I found a ranking that actually has Lumen Field 30th best.
Well, I found one that has Raymond James
23rd.
So
right,
yeah,
right. I mean, screw these other rankings.
These are the rankings right here.
Right.
These are official.
Okay, you have some good ones to choose
Jerry
from.
World's still out there.
Jerry World, yes.
They spent a lot of money to build Levi's Stadium in Santa Clara, but nobody really likes it, I don't think.
This is where I, in theory, should take...
What about the new Bills Stadium?
Hell no. The obstructed views all over the place. I'm good.
You know what's ranked kind of high
uniforms?
on a lot of these lists I've seen is Hard Rock in Miami. Underrated.
It's pretty good. I like watching Canes games there. Miami, I don't know what it is. It's just losing vibes when they take it out for the Dolphins. All right, I'm gonna make a heist here.
You gonna take Arrowhead?
I'm taking Arrowhead.
That's fine. I was.
And a big reason why is I am going to the preseason game this Friday against the Seahawks. So I'm going to have myself a blast at Arrowhead Stadium. It's my first time going. And so that for that reason alone, Arrowhead. Number 5.
All right. I was going to take Arrowhead with my last pick, but I've got a backup plan. I'll go to one. I'm not going to Jerry World.
Too many lights.
They don't know curtains, right? Too much sun coming in. But I'll go to one that's like kind of new. I love that it's another one that I've seen from the outside but haven't watched a game in. But it's got a great like shape to it and venue. It's Lucas Oil Stadium, the home of the Colts.
Lucas Oil.
Yeah.
The Dome.
James
Stadium.
James is gonna be fired up about that.
I think he's been to a game there. Yeah, I think
I'll have to ask him about it since I drafted
I'm looking at it now. The top is what's interesting. Like it almost looks like a massive warehouse because how would you describe this? What I'm doing with my hands here, Sasha? It's not like a rounded top. It's a pointed top, right? It's like
it looks like a house. Like a house.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like a massive house, biggest house you've ever seen. And so there's some cool angles. Like if you're in the end zone, you see the field, you see, the structure going up the side with the seating, but in the top, like it's the I don't even know how to break it down, man. It looks cool.
Couple of honorable mentions from me. Reliant Stadium, formerly NRG, for the Texans. I always love the way it looks on TV. I've heard it's a pretty nice stadium. And then if you want to go the old school route, like the Lambeau Field route, I mentioned it earlier, but Soldier Field, it's going to be no more pretty soon, much like Arrowhead. But it's been standing there for over 100 years. So since 1924.
It's a long time.
Yeah, I mean, I can see why people got attached to it. Some of those fans are not happy.
A-Train. Took you long enough to just mention Jerry World. I had it down in the running. I've never been. I think if they get the curtains, though, I think a lot of us will fess up. But what's this going on with, you can, walk through the facility. There's tours of the facility, and then players feel like they're in a zoo. I don't know what that's about.
Worst stadium in the NFL. Paycor Stadium, since home of the Bengals.
MetLife.
Yeah, it kind of stinks, too. And it's pretty new, too. It was built in 2010.
Oh, New Jersey.
This segment of the Press Box is brought to you by Wichita Clear Bra, the ultimate car care and protection. Online at wichitaclearbra.com.
The Press Box on KGSO.
Saturday on Compass Media Network's coverage of NCAA football. We kick off the 2026 season with the 14th ranked USC Trojans hosting the San Jose State Spartans. Hi, this is Matt Money Smith. Join Super Bowl winning quarterback Steve Berline and me for all the action as Jaden Maiava and the Trojans host upset-minded Jabari Bates and the Spartans. It's number 14 USC hosting San Jose State. If it's NCAA football, it's right here.
This is Wichita's sports station, KGSO.
Fierce coins and bullion, Kansas's premier bullion dealer.
If you want to add gold and silver bullion to your portfolio, there's no better place to go. Make sure to check out Phil's Coins online at philscoins.com. And with the largest variety of items, you'll find exactly what you're looking for. Phil's Coins and Bullion, 9344 West Central Avenue. Go check them out today.
Fierce coins and bullion, philscoins.com. Wichita Clear Bra.
Hey, this is Sasha Bushka from KGSO's Press Box, and I've been working with the guys at Wichita Clear Bra for several years now, and I can tell you the staff is great and fun to be around. Wichita Clear Bra has been in Wichita since 2015, and now's your chance to join the team. Visit wichitaclearbra.com and see the open positions. It would be a great place to work, and you won't believe the cars that come through.
Wichita Clear Bra, your quality auto spa.
Every school pickup line has a main character. Most days, it's the kids. But once a year, a parent pulls up in a brand new Kia Telluride. And suddenly, all eyes are on Mom.
Is that the new one? I heard it comes in a hybrid now. I heard it has heated seats in all 3 rows.
And for a moment, the kids aren't the only ones in the spotlight. This August, let that parent be you, because Mom deserves to shine too. Or if it's your student's turn to get behind the wheel, find great starter cars like the K4 sedan and K4 hatchback. Plus, you can get 0% financing on brand new Sportage and Sorrento models. And every new Kia is backed by our unbeatable 10-year, 100,000-mile limited powertrain warranty. Whichever model you choose, we have big savings on great vehicles for that main character energy. Only at Midwest Kia.
We want to see ya in a Midwest Kia.
With approved credit, see dealer for details. Warranties a limited powertrain warranty.
Go Hog Wild Pit Barbecue. Hog Wild, get some for you.
It's hard to choose a favorite at Hog Wild Pit Barbecue, but Terry Caldwell, Hog Wild partner and general manager in Wichita at Maple and West Street, thinks that's an easy call to make.
It's got to be Hog Wild's award-winning ribs. Our ribs are so good because we only buy our meat from those who share our high-quality standards. We also hand-rub each slab with our famous seasoning blend. Then, Hog Wild ribs are slow smoked over hickory each and every day for flavor and tenderness you're going to keep coming back for.
Are Hog Wild signature ribs your new favorite? Order online at gohogwild.com. Hog Wild Pit Barbecue, 6 locations in Wichita, also in Derby, Hutchinson, and Salina.
Go Hog Wild Pit Barbecue. Hog Wild, get some for you. But don't be late, we close at 8. Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today?
Truck started slow. Battery might be toast.
Slow starts are the first sign of heat damage to your battery. We'll test it, no charge.
Thanks. And if it is dead?
We'll set you up with a new, fully warranted battery, some up to 5 years, and we'll recycle the old one.
Thanks for the rundown. Lead the way.
Get free battery testing, charging, and recycling at AutoZone.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
Be the most knowledgeable or obnoxious one at the water cooler. This is Wichita's sports station, KGSO.
So, but I guess you changed her mind. Well, I should have known it wouldn't be alright, but I can't live without her, so I won't even try.
Just when you think this show is terrible, something wonderful happens.
What?
It ends.
Wichita! Kansas as a whole, the show is coming to a close. We encourage you to stick around. The Odd Couple, Fox Sports here in Wichita. Of course, Fox Sports National going to take over The Odd Couple. Kevin Washington, Rob Parker. Who knows what they have here in store later tonight. Pretty soon here on Tuesday nights, we'll have the Bishop Carroll Coaches Show following our program. Guys, the high school football guide is out. South Central Kansas 2026 edition. This is the 21st annual high school football guide. Long time in the making here for this one, folks. 64 teams in the South Central Kansas area. We got the G-Wall, AVCTL, Central Plains, Central Kansas, so on and so forth. We have broadcast schedules here for our games of the week on KGSO with the Bishop Carroll. The game of the week on KQAM, starting with Cheney and Garden Plain week 1, so on and so forth. But guys, if you're looking to get cued in on the high school football season coming up, shout out to a couple of our local sponsors here. Been kind of just going through throughout the day, telling you about some of these. If you're rooting on the Derby Panthers this year, pick up your high school football guide at Mark May Allstate. Maybe even Collision Leaders of Derby, formerly known as Shelton Collision. You've got the Mays Eagles here. If you're rooting on Coach Gary Guzman's boys, pick up your high school football guide at the Wichita Driving School. Check out Drees Insurance and Retirement Services, Taco Pronto, Maximum Outdoor Equipment, and Pride Ag Resources, just to name a couple. We'll be telling you about the high school football guide and where to pick it up throughout the rest of the week. Of course, you got next week, and next Friday, games begin. Hold on to this sucker throughout the season and find the best local businesses to visit here in town. Speaking of local businesses, Sasha, we got to tell you about
Taco Tico, it's all about the taste.
looking for dinner. Check them out. Taco Tico, 13th and Tyler, 35th and Rock Road, Arc City, Newton, El Dorado, Derby, Augusta. Go get yourself a burrito where it's all about the
taste.
You weren't very enthusiastic.
It's all about the taste.
The taste. The taste. All right. Let's turn gears here. It's the end of the show. I talked a little bit about the Browns quarterback decision. Munkin said it. My QB1 is Deshaun Watson.
Just when I think you couldn't possibly be any dumber, you go and do something like this.
Yeah, that's what the Cleveland Browns.
You didn't hear that. You didn't let him say the important part. And totally redeem yourself.
Who's redeeming themselves? Not Deshaun. I mean, that's why I cut it out, Sasha. There was no one to be redeemed. I mean, he's going to take that first snap. It's just going to be the boo birds. You're going to hear the bags over people's heads. I mean, they're going to rip off the bag and just tear out their eyes. Look, Deshaun Watson is your Cleveland Browns starting quarterback. And I wanted to just take you back to the last 5 years of history. Devin Stibe on Facebook, Happy Week 0. You got Nichols, MVSU. I don't know anything about those teams, Devin Stibe. Deshaun Watson here, guys. Let me take you back to January of 2021. Deshaun Watson just wrapped up a pretty good season of individual football. I know the Texans in 2020, they didn't make the postseason. They actually went 4-12. But look, Watson put up good numbers that season. I believe he had a 4K year. 4,800 yards. That's a lot. 33 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. He was a Pro Bowler, legit one. And so I think from that point on, like Deshaun Watson, still in his mid-20s, you're thinking, okay, this guy is going to be one of the mainstays we hear about quarterback year in, year out going forward. This all started, actually, with a trade request in 2021 in January. He was upset with the front office. Then in March of 2021, all hell breaks loose. Public controversy. The initial lawsuits filed by Tony Busby, of course, alleging sexual assault and misconduct during massage therapy sessions. So this was the main off-the-field storyline you heard in the NFL landscape for quite some time, and he missed the 2021 season because of the stalemate he had with Houston, and it was sort of just a healthy scratch for the year. You get to 2022, the Browns finally trade for Watson, one of the most controversial trades of all time. 5 years, $230 million guaranteed, which has since played out as one of the worst contracts ever. Then, guys, he had the suspension in 2022. 2023, he's ruled out for basically half the year. He had a displaced fracture in his right throwing shoulder, which sucks as a quarterback. He, of course, tore his Achilles tendon in October of 2024 and then re-injured it, rolling his ankle in rehab at his home in Miami, in which he had surgery again in January of 2025, and we have not seen Deshaun Watson since. And so I think, with the news coming out the other day, it's kind of all relative to remind you of the news cycle with Deshaun and how he had the fall from grace. And so, look, we're looking at now 3 seasons in a row, actually 4 in a row, where he either hardly played, didn't play at all, or sucked in all of them. And Deshaun, I'm sorry, but I don't think you are going to get another NFL contract ever again after this one runs out.
He hasn't played good football since the COVID season.
Yes.
Right? COVID was 6 years ago. He hasn't played good football since 2020. Mm-hmm. He stinks. He stinks at football. And you have the off the field stuff, and there's a lot going around that's about like, oh, well, you've had other people have off the field issues, and people forgive them for him. But one, he never apologized, right? He basically, he even said in his little rant the other day about how Cleveland fans are booing him. Oh. He said he has no regrets in his life. Okay, so there's that. 2, he's never played a down of decent football for the Cleveland Browns, and they've given him $230 million for the pleasure. And the reality is all of the off the field incidents coincided with him getting $230 million for no reason. And by the way, the 2020 year he threw for 4,800 yards. They went 4-12, so it was probably a lot of empty stats
DAC
there.
yards, yeah.
Yeah, but if you look at his numbers since then, like he was yards per attempt, he was 8.9 in 2020. He's been 6.5, 6.5, 5.3 since then.
No confidence.
His TD percentage went from a high of 9% his rookie year to 2.3% in 2024. So like across the board in the advanced metrics, he's gotten worse and worse and worse every single year, and it makes you wonder, like, if he even tries to be good at quarterback anymore, right? Like, because he obviously had the talent, he had the requisite things necessary to be a good NFL quarterback, and it just all went to shambles.
I think deep down, that whole saga playing out, him kind of being like publicly destroyed and very deservingly so. Like the guy probably lost a lot of people close to him in his life. Like he can no longer really go and represent Clemson football either, which he was a great quarterback in college. Yeah. I think we don't necessarily realize how big of a mental toll that actually went on to play and affect him with his real play style. Like I think, he used to feed off of being in these big crowds and succeeding. Now he's thinking everybody here hates me.
Yeah. Truth is, too, the reason he's the starter for the Cleveland Browns is because they don't have a quarterback on their roster. So we can talk about that more tomorrow if you want.
We can. That's the show. Have a great night.
This is The Herd.
He is V8 Plus.
With Colin Cowherd.
Now, we know what Mendoza is based on his college career. So the Raiders so far are doing non-Raider things. And I've got to tell you, this Raiders organization has been closer to Cleveland than the Chiefs.